right, so I guess we're live. Oh, this is exciting. Okay, well, we'll call the meeting to order, and then we'll start the process. So this is the June 14th, 21 meeting of the Development Government Relations Subcommittee to the Holyoke City Council. With me is Howard Graney, Peter Tallman, Michael Sullivan. Behind me is Ward 2 Councilor and Acting Mayor Terrence Murphy. Welcome all, and welcome back to our first oh, and geez, look at this, and then the Zoom, I forgot, we have Zoom meeting too. It's, with us, we also have Councilor Leahy. Let's see who else is on the Zoomer with us.
Evening.
Evening.
Councilor McGee looks like his name is there as well. So that's...
Good evening.
Okay, well, it's exciting times here, huh? Okay, so this is the first in-person, quasi-in-person, I guess, meeting of the Holyoke City Council, or a body thereof, in a long time. I think since I came down here by myself over a year ago now, and I was the only one in the room. So a couple things. One is we are facing towards the president's rostrum, so that's one. Second of all, we actually have new carpeting that looks like from wall-to-wall carpeting in this room, and we have plexiglass in between each of the desks. Otherwise, and plexiglass behind us. Otherwise, it looks like there's new air conditioner too. Okay, all right, that's it for the rundown. With that, so welcome everybody. So let's get right to it. We're going to leave one on the table as some minutes of the prior meeting. I don't have them, and
Make a motion to lay it on the table, the minutes.
yeah, we'll leave it on the table. So moved. If I could get a motion to take number 2 off the table and open the public hearing.
Motion to take 2 off the table and open a public hearing.
A second.
Motion made and seconded to remove agenda item number 2 off the table. On discussion, hearing none. On the motion, all in favor?
Aye.
This is we are opening up a public hearing for a special permit application for animal establishment for Anthony Boulay of 899 Main Street. And I got a feeling that's in Holyoke, Mass. So that's good. Anthony V. Boulay of 501 Northampton Street. I think that's related to the famous Boulays, if I remember right. Okay, so let's see here what we say. We want to operate a dog daycare with overnight visits as needed. Let's see here. We've got a mission statement. We've got some other verbiage here that makes a lot of sense. We've got a layout of the facility, and that's where we are. I don't have anything from any city department, but we will talk about that at some point, I suppose. But the main event, Mr. Boulay, there you are. Unmute yourself, sir. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Boulay, welcome. You are, so let's just review how this works here. You're going to give us a rundown of what it is that you're attempting to do. We may or may not get some feedback directly from city councilors. Second of all, we're going to hear from any department heads that are present on feedback relative to this special permit application, because this is a fairly unique one in my experience. Then after that, we're going to hear from the public, either pro or con, and this is not a round table, so we're not all talking to each other, okay? We're only going to talk to the chair. That's it. We're only going to address the chair. That's how you do it. Okay. With that, sir, why don't you tell us from your perspective what it is that you are seeking to do?
Mr. Chair, if it is okay with you, may I speak on behalf of my brother Anthony?
You may, and you're going to give us your name and your address, please.
My name is Jennifer Boulay, and my address is 88 Hungerford Street in Pittsfield, and my relationship to Mr. Boulay is that he is my brother.
Okay, 88 Hungerford Street in Pittsfield. I don't think we're going to need a motion for anything. So, Jennifer, you have the floor. Why don't you tell us what's happening?
So the proposal before you tonight is to operate what is frequently referred to as a doggy daycare type business where primarily during the day, Monday through Friday, but biggest emphasis on Monday through Friday, clients would be able to drop their dogs off into a secure and supervised and maintained facilities, sanitary space that would operate primarily, I believe that Anthony included hours for you, but the proposed hours at this point in time would be Monday through Friday from 7:30 to 6, and then potentially on Saturdays and Sundays from 8:30 to 5. Initial sort of conversation around this indicates that Saturdays and Sundays might be something that people are looking for, but the primary targeted business would be work time people. The layout, as you can see on the drawing that Anthony provided, the layout includes a fence, chain link fence around the entire perimeter of the property, and then additional fencing on the interior of the property. So there's a fencing on the inside, plus there's a border around it, so double fenced. In addition, there are other fences around where cars would come in to drop the dogs off. The idea here is that there would be separation of people from dogs, so dog owners would not come into the facility beyond the drop-off area and attempt to keep everybody safe. Dogs would be monitored before they enter. There'd be a sort of orientation and assessment where the dogs would come in with their owners, with their vet paperwork, and they would meet with Anthony. Anthony would observe the dogs with little to no other dogs around. Then there'd be a graduated introduction of the dogs to other dogs to make sure that they're safe. Again, as indicated on the picture that Anthony drew, there are various fenced-in areas where dogs can be separated, especially new dogs. There's a quarantine area. I think there's a lot of details in the plan about the plans that Anthony has for the structure, for improvements to the structure. There are information in there about what the surface area is going to be. So that's, I think, the overview of what the business is. I think as if this permit were granted, then as indicated, Mr. Chair, by you a minute ago, there's also the desire for the option to have some overnight visits as necessary in the future. So let me pause there and just see if there are any questions or comments at this point.
Well, there probably are. No, I heard feedback on that one. No, mine's not on. Okay.
You're being heard through their screen, so when you're not speaking, they'll unmute.
Okay. Okay. So if somebody's not speaking, they have to mute their computer. Okay.
You're going to hear yourself through their.
Oh, okay. All right. So we're all learning here. This is okay. Okay. So I guess for right now, Jennifer, well, first of all, how many dogs are we talking about at a time?
Again, the projection at this point in time would be maybe 10 to 12 dogs at a time maximum, but as the business hasn't really been developed, I don't think that we would be looking at 10 to 12 dogs there Monday through Friday from the get-go. But thinking about the ultimate capacity of the facility, the best guess at this time would be about a dozen dogs.
Okay.
For the for the doggy daycare component, the 7:30 to 6 component.
And it's limited to just dogs, correct?
Correct, it is only dogs.
Okay, and is there, I've seen these before. I've seen them at, I know there's a doggy hotel in Hadley. I've on my way to UMass, I've seen those. But is there any kind of a license that somebody in this business is required to secure, or can anybody just open it up?
I have to say we've been working with the city for a couple of years now, and I see Mr. Dijks in the meeting, and we appreciate he's been very patient and very helpful. Both the state and the city, the state and CMR, I have the reference right here. I think it's 309 CMR 30, and then Holyoke has Holyoke City Ordinance 14. Those two things are very similar. The Holyoke seems to have adopted the state language, and it's not quite on point, but it's probably the closest that we can get. It's not on point because the ordinance and the CMR both address specifically dogs that have been taken into the custody of the state or the municipality, and they need to be sheltered. So it's really more maybe dogs that are impounded or stray dogs that are dropped off, which is not at all what this business is. But to the extent that we could find some regulation or maybe some description of best practices, something that we could benchmark or look to see in similar areas where there is regulation, what does the regulation say? While we don't think that the regulation describes this business, we do think there was some helpful information there, which Anthony has incorporated into his proposal. And should the permit be granted, there would be particular things that we read about in those regulations that he would look to integrate. I also would like to say that again, from the city, so that there were a few people at the city who have been very patient and helpful with us. The city also sent a recommendation for a document called Guidelines for Standards of Care in Animal Shelters. Again, not precisely on point, but the best that we could find. This is not a regulatory document. This is a document that was written by professionals in the field, particularly vets. It's a national guidance, and it's their attempt to try and bring together some best practices. Again, really more for the shelters, the pets that are taken in, and they now become the responsibility of the municipality or the state. But that was the third document that we read, that we tried to benchmark some of the things that we would propose to do on this with what this group of veterinarians are proposing in their guidelines for the standards of animal care. So we do see that we need a special permit, but we were not able to find any other type of license or regulation that seemed to govern the, again, for lack of a better phrase, the doggy daycare.
Okay, Jennifer. And then what's the exact address that we're using for this proposed business?
The address would be, the business would be located at 914 Main Street,
Okay.
914.
Right. Okay. So I've got multiple addresses all over here. So, all right. So what is presently 914 Main being used as? What's the,
It's property.
what's the building? What's the layout of the building? What's it being used as right now?
Yep. It was formerly being used for bridge motors. It was it's a space, a fenced-in space that has a small structure towards the back, and the former proprietor of Bridge Motors has passed on, and since that time, the property has not been in use.
Okay, so it's right now it's a Bridge Motors. It's an abandoned former commercial space. Is that what you're saying? Or
It's owned by our family, and the former proprietor of that business rented from our family. I don't know that abandoned is exactly the word, but I would say there's currently not an operational business. And just for perspective for counselors or for anybody listening, it's the best way to describe it is sort of across the street, not quite across the street from Rudd's on Main Street or Tasty Top. I'm not sure what it's called now, but in that section near the old Riverfront bar, not too far from Springdale Park.
yeah, I can picture it now. So all right, that helps me a little bit. Okay, let's see where we are. Do counselors have questions?
Mr. President?
Just Mr. Chairman, I'm not Mr. President.
Mr. Chairman?
Yeah,
Oh, we wanted to give you a promotion.
I don't want a promotion.
You're the first one.
Counselor Graney.
Yeah, Jennifer, hi. Thanks for coming in. Just one quick question. You're not going to be boarding these dogs overnight, are you?
Through the chair to Councilor Leahy, the business plan does contemplate that the business could be expanding to some overnight stays for dogs, yes.
Okay, this is Councilor Graney speaking.
Oh, I apologize. Grainy, Leahy, sorry.
Yeah, all the Irish look
I know.
alike. That's the
Boulais,
problem.
Boulais, you know.
All those Irishmen look alike. Good
Oh,
gosh.
how's Peggy and John doing? How are they doing?
If I can, Mr.
Okay, well, we'll get to Old Home. Councilor Graney's at the floor.
That's good, I'm done.
Okay. Councilor Murphy?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. So I've been working with Mr. Boulay for probably a year and a half as we work through this process. And it's really unique, and we ended up about 6 or 7 weeks ago getting all the various departments that have some aspect of permitting for this kind of facility, the health department, city clerk, planning, building, and a variety of others. And we came up with what we felt was the best process, and that was the special permit process, so we can have a public hearing, review the whole proposal. I think, and I don't know if there are any neighbors there. I know he reached out to neighbors. I haven't heard of anybody having opposition to this. I do have a little, I'm more concerned with the overnight, but if there's only a few and they're internal and walked and then come back in, I don't really have a major problem with that. But he's worked to try to put this together. It was unique in terms of what he's trying to do. I mean, we certainly could put restrictions in terms of the number of dogs if we should desire that. We could put restrictions in terms of the number of dogs staying overnight as well. And I know he'd like to get the business going, and I think the original intention pretty much was daycare dog daycare. And Andrew, Anthony, if I'm incorrect, let me know, okay? But I think that's pretty much what we were looking to do. And so we've got the city to put this together, the special permit, and he followed through with that, and he's met with Mr. Dijak. I know he's met with Eric from Animal Control at the Board of Health, and he's met with the city clerk to try to make sure we get this done right. So he's done everything he can, and I don't know if there's public comment, but I think.
Well, we'll get that in a second,
Yep,
Terry.
it's
Okay.
vacant. It's been vacant for a while. It's really somewhat of an eyesore right now, and it would certainly be, I think what he would do would be improve the property, obviously provide a few jobs, and hopefully some good place for people to bring their dogs. So.
Okay, thank you, Councilor Murphy. Just a point of personal privilege, Jeff. Okay, first of all, I can hear Councilor Murphy, but I cannot hear him through a microphone. So same way with Councilor Graney. I can see his lights on. Let me just. Okay, his mic's on. My mic's on. So why is that? I cannot hear Councilor Murphy or Councilor Graney through any speakers.
Yep.
Just get a little closer to the mic, Terry.
Yep. That good?
Oh, that's a lot better. Yeah, Howie, just try that.
Hello?
Okay, yeah, all right, so they're just too far away. Okay, maybe. All right, that was that. Okay, other councilors. Councilor Tallman.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Jennifer and Anthony, for coming down and explaining what you want to do there. And I'm very familiar with the lot and know the former proprietor of Bridge Motors for many years. One of my concerns is, and I know I didn't see the whole map, but I know you have in the fenced-in area, and then when you bring the dogs in, another fenced-in area to the building. How is there actually like driveways into the property right now, or do you're gonna have to make a special cut to get in and out? Because I know that's a busy road. I'm just concerned a little bit about people dropping dogs off and coming out because there's a curve there. So I was just wondering if there's any kind of driveway in there.
We're all set.
Through the chair to Councilman Tallman, I believe that we're all set on that. I don't think we have to make any cuts. The former business that operated there did bring vehicles into that property pretty regularly, so it was already created as a property that could have vehicles come in. The plan is to have vehicles really only be on the front part of the property. We're not envisioning vehicles really driving back into the property. It's almost like a one-way a one-way entryway and exit that you would enter. Anthony would open the gates up. You would enter. There'd be an internal gate that you would, in your car, you would pass through the internal gate that would be closed behind you. And while you were in that secure space that is gated in and fenced in on all areas, you could open your door and let your dog out. Now, this little space where you can open the door and let your dog out, this space itself is enclosed in a larger fenced-in space. So the plan for the property does have a couple of smaller enclosed spots that are gated together within this larger gated piece of property. So to the point about the driveway, you would drive in through an area where it's already cut in the sidewalk. There'd be a gate there that Anthony would open. You'd pull your car in. There'd be a second gate on the inside. You'd pull your car into that area. The gate would close behind you. You and your dog would be completely encapsulated by a gate, and there would be no other dogs or people in that area except Anthony, who would come out to retrieve your dog from you. He would then bring the dog through yet another gate, and so now you are alone in the gated area with your car and no other dogs or people around you. Anthony and the dog have now sort of gone through another gate into another secure area of the property, and then you can go on. So that driveway is already cut, it's in the front, and it's separated from the rest of the space to keep the dogs safe from the vehicles, but also to keep each dog and each owner contained and safe from other dogs. Not that we're worried about the safety, but just sort of another added layer of isolation in a good way.
Okay, and in the area out, and the main area, is it like the outdoor area? Is that basically takes up the chunk of the property, and then the structure is going to be up in the back, sort of a smaller area?
That's true, and through the chair, if you are familiar with the property or you can envision the property, the structure is currently there. The structure is sound, although Anthony does plan to make some improvements to the structure and align with the two regulatory pieces that we cited, plus this document that the city shared with us. But the structure itself is sound, and it is in the back corner of the property, and it would remain there.
Okay, thank you.
Any other counselors have questions? I don't see anyone.
Councilor Bartley?
Hold on, Counselor Leahy. Let me see, what am I doing? Hold on a minute. Oh, there's Counselor Leahy. There he is. Look at the top corner with his hand up. Counselor Leahy has the floor.
Right. I've had my hand for a while. Okay. First of all, thank you very much.
Counselor Leahy, time out for sports. I always go to the committee first and then non-committee members. But I was watching the big screens, so I didn't see you with your hand up. But you have the floor. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Okay. You said any counselor. Okay. So anyway, thank you so much for having this meeting in-house. This is something that I can't wait to get back into. This is a great thing. However, I do want to say that, but I do want to say that this is a great Holyoke family. I'm 100% behind this. Anthony Boulay is a great guy. We're great stock, great parents, great family. This is something I think is well needed. I have an older dog, an older black lab, and I have a hard time placing him when I want to go away. I think this is something that's going to be well needed, and I'm 100% behind this. And I haven't seen Anthony Boulay in a while, but the last time I saw him, he had a big, beautiful smile, and I think we should see that tonight. So, Anthony, give us a big smile. But besides that, I'm 100% behind it. Thank you.
Okay, Counselor Leahy, thank you very much. Let me see. I used to be good at this when it was just Zoom. Now it's like a combination, so I'm not so. It's a learning curve, but I know we have a lot of patient counselors here. Okay, so are there any department heads that are present that want to address us on this matter? I don't see any department heads. I see them here, but I don't see them raising their hands at all on this matter. Okay, we'll shift gears. Are there any members of the public, either pro or con, that want to address us on this matter? You just raise your hand or wave or do something to that effect. I don't see any members of the public raising their hands on this matter. So no department heads, no members of the public. Okay, just to the, Mr. Dijak. John, you have your hand up, go ahead.
Thank you, and I wanted to just inform the committee that that the Boulais should be commended for their patience, not vice versa. They've actually been going at this for about 2 years. And Mr. Chair, you indicated this was at the very beginning. This is unique, and it is very unique because we haven't had this situation before. I would just like to say that the zoning allows for a kennel use, but there are other requirements that will be brought upon the business from the Board of Health, specifically Animal Control, the Building Department, and any other applicable departments that come into play here. The application is for the kennel use. It's for the use of a kennel. So we've covered a lot of. There's actually in their application there was about 10 or 11 questions that were posed both by the Planning Department and the Animal Control Officer that were, I think, were very well answered by Anthony Boulais. So he's done a lot of his due diligence. I think there's still some learning to do on both sides to make sure that this is a use that is it's very important because, you know, there's so many things that go into this, from how you handle dog waste to making sure dogs have proper shelter. And so there likely will be limitations placed by the Board of Health on the amount of dogs after a more thorough plan is discussed with them. So I just wanted to put that out there. And but again, Anthony's been tremendous in terms of his efforts to try to pull this together and responsive to any questions the Animal Control or the Planning Department have had. So thank you, and I can answer any questions.
Okay, where's the Board of Health tonight?
I don't know. I did alert them to the meeting, but I don't see them.
Okay, so I'm just curious as to if we're granting a permit, can the Board of Health impose further restrictions? John? I'm asking you.
I'm trying to review the ordinance, and it does, I believe it does say that it would conform to the requirements of the Animal Control Officer. And so I think generally speaking that the requirements would need to be to the satisfaction of the Board of Health and Animal Control.
Yeah, usually the last stop is a city council. Normally there's preliminary stops at the boards that are below us. So I don't know why we don't have the animal control officer or somebody from the Board of Health present to direct us on this, John. While I appreciate you being here, of course, I don't know why they're not here. Jeff, were they advised this meeting by you officially?
They were not.
Okay. Yeah, no, you that's okay. I wouldn't have known that either, but it would have been helpful if they were formally advised. Okay, well, we can't do much about it now. So,
Could I make one more comment, Mr. Chairman?
Councilor Murphy.
Yeah, just so you, I just try to go through this. This was a very confusing process, as Mr. Dijak can tell you, and you know, we had some people on the planning board that were originally working with it that ended up leaving, so that kind of put us in a snafu. But eventually, I believe all the departments came to the conclusion that they should go through the special permit first to see if the council would go along with it, and then impose any restrictions that they felt in terms of animal health would be necessary. So I mean,
Well, I guess my question, Terry, is this: if we impose restrictions, I mean, can they override our restrictions? So just say hypothetically, we said 8 dogs, and we had no overnights. Can the Board of Health override that? I mean, it's our permit, so I don't see how they could. But you know, I'm getting conflicting signals here.
no, I hear you, and it was that I don't have an answer for. I just know that without the special permit, we couldn't figure out how to get this process moving.
Right. Okay. So Oh. Oh, man, this is.
screen on this big screen. It said Tom McGee handled his stuff.
Counselor McGee, are you there?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you have you go ahead, you have the floor.
Thank you. And Councilor Bartley, I think is correct. You know, can they override it? I don't think they can override you if you put conditions in. Can they add to them? I think is really what the Board of Health could do, is add on to the conditions. As far as the special permit, you know, I think everyone said, you know, we've known Anthony or the Boulay family for quite some time. I just want to alert the committee that Anthony reached out to me, it was like a year ago, mentioning this project, and asked what is the best way to go about doing it to make sure we do it correctly. So right from the beginning, he just didn't say, I'm going to get a special permit, I'm doing this. He said, okay, what should I do? He went, you know, door to door. He reached out to the neighbors to make sure everything would be okay for them. He reached out to me, other counselors, to now Mayor Murphy, making absolutely sure that he followed the process to make sure that everything was done correctly, and make sure that whatever business he put in there wouldn't harm any of the neighbors. Now, I think that's what people really should know about this. It's bringing in something unique to the city of Holyoke, and it's another business, tax revenue, so on and so forth. But you have a business owner who wanted to make absolutely sure the neighborhood was protected and understood what he was trying to do and do it correctly. So I think that's, you know, whatever conditions you put on, he'll comply with them and do it correctly. If there are issues that pop up, he's the type of person, I grew up with him, I'm not going to lie, I've known him for a long, long time. He'll do what is right. And that's why I highly support, you know, giving the special permit.
This meeting is being recorded.
So I'll stop there because something just happened with the phone.
Okay, I don't know what happened, but, okay, thank you, for that. Okay, so just so we're all aware, this came into City Council May 18th, so it's not like this committee hasn't been sitting on it. We just, you know, we turned it around pretty darn fast, but I understand there's a lot of things behind the scene just to the Boulay, so we moved on it pretty quickly. So I know you've been through a little bit of hoops here. Okay, so I don't know how best to proceed on this because we're sort of driving blind here, but seeing how we're kind of running out of time from a legislative session sense, it probably makes sense to close this public hearing, and then, but I before I do that, just to the Boulays, so here's my position, and thank you for being here, and yeah, everybody, you know, we you know, I didn't grow up with you, but I certainly know Johnny and you know, Mrs. Boulay and all that, the Ward 7 school committee, former committee person, well respected. Okay, so that's on the table, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about and we always appreciate new businesses being in Holyoke, and especially for native Holyokers. I think that's doubly exciting from my perspective. We didn't hear from any abutters at all. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but that's the reality of this right now. And we didn't really hear from any department heads whatsoever. With that, I just want to ask Jennifer, if we put a, you know, so your proposal for your hours, what would your position be if we said on a special permit that the hours are going to be Monday through Friday, 7:30 to 6, and Saturday and Sunday, 8:30 to 5? What would your position be? Would you be okay with that?
Mr. Chair, may I ask a clarifying question? Are you defining the hours specifically to exclude overnights? Is that what the definition that you're doing?
I guess I am, but I'm defining the hours exactly the way you have them proposed in your application.
Yes, that would be much appreciated.
Okay, so I guess from my perspective, I would feel better if it was just the hours of operation as proposed, but you and your brother have the option to apply to amend the permit when you feel the time is appropriate. Then you have to come back to us. And now we haven't even had a discussion. I don't even know what anybody else is going to say. This is really our first time seeing this, but I'm of the opinion that the hours as proposed are probably going to be enough to get you off and running. And then if the business gathers steam, then perhaps you would want to have an overnight and you would want to apply to amend your permit. But what you're saying to me is that at this point you would be okay with that. Did I hear you right?
Yes, Mr. Chair, may I ask a clarifying question? When I read the city ordinance 14, section 14-3, it looks like commercial animal establishments have an annual permitting process. So I think that you're suggesting that maybe add the annual permitting process for the period that begins April 1st. If it is appropriate to consider requesting an amended permit, then that could be done at that time.
Well, I think it could be done. An amended permit can be done at any time. So, but you are right. This permit is good for 1 year, subject to your complying with city ordinances. Yeah, you're absolutely correct. But then normally when permits come back before us on the review, we just we basically just hit the rubber stamp so long as you've paid all your taxes and fees and all that, and there's nothing outstanding, right? So I would say you can either apply to amend it at that point or sooner, really, or later, just depending on how the business rolls. Okay, all right, that answers my question. Are there any other council have questions for the petitioner at this point? No, Council Sullivan, did you? Council Sullivan.
So right now, not having the animals overnight wouldn't hinder the business? You'd be able to get off the ground without that?
Through the chair to Councilor Sullivan, thank you for asking that question. When we were preparing for tonight's meeting and particularly reviewing Ordinance 14, and when we were looking at the fact that the annual permit seems to run beginning in April, and knowing that if a permit is granted, then there is work that needs to be done on the property before it is suitable to bring dogs onto it. I do think that the overnights are an important component to the business, but knowing that there's an annual review process, and as Chair Bartley said, that even prior to the review process, there is an opportunity for reconsideration. I think that being able to have the permit and be able to start to work on the facility and build the business with the daycare component would be sufficient, knowing that we have an opportunity to come back before the committee if things are going well and we would like to request permission to it.
Okay, thanks. That answers my question.
Any other councilors? Okay, I'll take a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is made and seconded to close the public hearing and discussion. Hearing none on the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, public hearing is closed. Under discussion, I would say that we have a pretty darn good application here. Certainly, we want to consider the hours of operation. I'm of the opinion that the hours of operation should be as proposed, which is Monday through Friday, 7:30 to 6, Saturday and Sunday, 8:30 to 5. So I would add that as a condition to the permit. I would also add as a condition that the applicant meet with and comply with any regulations imposed by the Board of Health and any reasonable applications imposed by the Board of Health and the Animal Control Officer. So that's my motion. My motion is to approve the permit subject to the hours of operation as stated and subject to any receiving and complying with any conditions imposed by the Board of Health and the Animal Control Officer.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Under discussion, hearing none. On the motion to grant a special permit with the aforesaid conditions. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None. Okay. To the Boulais, thank you. You heard what we said, and best wishes, and take care of your dogs. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you for your consideration. Have a good evening.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. We did. Okay. All right. So that permit is put before the will be put before the full city council, as Councilor Graney just mentioned to me. That'll be before next week. Okay. All right, because we are just a recommending body. We have no power in this body. Zero power. 0-30. We're just tools in the game. Okay, so let's see. I'll take a motion to take number 3 off the table and open up the public hearing.
Motion to take item number 3 off the table. Open up the public hearing.
Motion made and seconded to remove agenda item number 3 from the table and open up a public hearing under discussion. Hearing none on the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, the motion. Public hearing. Special permit application for hospital height for Kindred Healthcare at 45 Lower Westfield Road. I know we don't have a motion before us to cut the lawn up there, because if that were the case, we would be all excited about that. But let's see what we have here. So Kindred Healthcare. Jason Castile, I know we saw Senator Knappich on the Zoom meeting. So request for a special permit under Special Regulation 711 Hospital Light to permit the construction of a 4-story behavioral health hospital in RO zone. Okay, so this is, I think this is before us, and we have all sorts of very important healthcare executives and advocates before us, and we've seen a few of them earlier. The one we all know and love is Mike Knappich. Senator Knappich, welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee.
Okay.
Hey, Michael.
So, Mike, why don't you introduce the participants, and then one or all of them can give a summation as to what it is you're proposing.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, and again to the members of the committee and the general counsel and folks from the economic development arm of the city, and just a general thank you for all of your work and cooperation with us over the many months since the council approved the recommendation of the mayor back in December. Joining us is not only my dog, but Bill Kern.
Well, I'll tell you what,
that's
Mike, that's very timely. I mean, we now have a daycare for that. So next time you have a Zoom meeting, we have a daycare facility soon to be on Main Street in Holyoke, where you can drop off so we don't have to listen to your yappy dog in the middle of a very important meeting. This isn't Boston, Mike. This is Holyoke, Mike. So we take it serious. Okay, go. You have the floor, Mike. Oh, you froze, Mike. His dog froze. Already? Okay, let's see. So Mike might have to log back in because we're still the wonders of Zoom. I'll tell you.
Chairman, if I may, this is Bill Kern. I work with Mike at Bay State Health. If it's okay, I'd like to introduce Jason Castile. So Jason is here representing Kindred, again, the partner to Bay State Health for this joint venture hospital. And so Bay State and Kindred have agreed that Kindred will take the lead role with these types of efforts. So Jason is our resident expert with us here as the director of construction from Kindred. And I think he could take it from here and introduce what our plans are at a high level, or otherwise defer back to you with how you'd like to start this proceeding. Thank you.
Okay, so I think Mike might be back. At least he was back for a second. But here's what we're going to do. Jason, you're going to go first. You're going to give me your name, your title, and your address, whether it's just 45 Lower Westfield or whatever your business address is, and we'll go from there. So why don't you tell us what's happening, Jason, if you're not frozen.
Yes, my name is Jason Castile, Director of Construction with Kindred Healthcare. Address is 113 Seaboard Lane, Suite B201, Franklin, Tennessee 37067. So again, I just want to reiterate, thank you, council members, for allowing us to come present. And what I think we'd like to do is we prepared a quick presentation. I believe Jeffrey would allow access for Chris Malicki, who is on the line, who's our architect, to share his screen. We just wanted to for any of the council members that may not be aware of the project, give a brief overview and then go into our special permit request and why we're seeking that for this project.
Well, why don't you do just that? Give a brief overview, especially because people watching at home might not be familiar. And then why don't you go ahead with what you're petitioning? So go ahead.
Yes, so Jeffrey, can you give access to Chris Malicki to share his screen for this presentation? Are you able to see?
He should have access.
Okay, Chris, if you don't mind sharing so I can go over our presentation.
See if I can make this work. Are you able to see?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Very
Okay,
good.
everybody's good? All right, so again, this is a joint venture partnership between Kindred Healthcare and Bay State Health for a behavioral health hospital located in Holyoke. It's at 45 Lower Westfield Road. Just a quick introduction, and this is kind of showing our developer, architect, civil engineer. So again, Jason Castile, we've got our Senior Vice President, Rob Marsh. With Bay State Health, we've got Bill Kern and Mike Napick that you've heard of. Our developer, we have selected as a joint venture, the Sanders Trust. They could not make it tonight. Again, I'm stepping in for them. As far as our architect, we have chosen Stingle Hill Architecture to design this beautiful building that you'll see in the renderings here shortly. And as far as our civil engineer goes, Crunk Engineering, Adam Henriksen is on the line as well. So this is just kind of a brief, quick overview of the main team currently at this point. And as we get further into our project, we've got more engineers and additional architects that are involved. So to give a real big overview, it's a 150-bed hospital. It's 123,230 square feet of inpatient behavioral health care. We are, as a part of our permit tonight, the main portion is a 4-story tower that's roughly 95,000 square feet. We also have a 1-story, 23,000 square foot Department of Mental Health nursing unit that you'll see. We have a gymnasium that's separated from the building. It's roughly 4,100 square feet. And then there is a pedestrian connecting building that connects all of those pieces together. So between the 4-story building, the gymnasium, and the Department of Mental Health nursing unit, that headway connects them. Our patient population include adult, child, and adolescent and geriatric patients. There is a outpatient partial hospitalization program. This facility will be licensed by the Massachusetts Department of Mental Health. And currently our timeline for construction is projected at 24 months from groundbreaking, pending we receive all regulatory approvals. So just a quick economic development piece that we thought we'd bring to the table is approximately 250 new employment opportunities for the city of Holyoke, 200 of those full-time positions and 50 part-time. And within that 250, there's roughly 30 physicians and other medical professionals, and then 50 plus nurses. Construction is roughly $53 million right now, and that is just the hard cost of construction. And as far as local trades and labor is highly encouraged in the area. Been working closely with general contractors, seeing what the local trade participation will offer in the area, so we can hire within Holyoke and surrounding communities to bring those jobs to the market for this hospital. And we are a for-profit entity, so tax benefits to the city of Holyoke. And what I'd like to do now is turn it over to Adam Henriksen real quick. He's going to kind of go over the overall site plan that we've developed, and that will get into our request for the special permit.
Good evening. So Adam Henriksen, Crunk Engineering, with the civil engineers on the project. It's 7112 Crossroads Boulevard, Brentwood, Tennessee, 37027. And I guess the site in front of you here is at the lower portion of the screen. The site is adjacent to Holy Family Road. In the lower right-hand corner is where Holy Family Road intersects with Lower Westfield Road, the address being 45 Lower Westfield. At the center of the site plan here is the 4-story tower, which is parallel with Holy Family Road. The DMH unit building, which is 1 story, is perpendicular there on the left-hand side of your screen. The total site is about 13.18 acres. It slopes off steep to the east there, or to the top of your screen, down to the railroad tracks. And the permitted as a part of this is an RO zone. So permitted with the RO zone is a 3-story building with a max 40-foot height. And this is, and the proposed parking there is adjacent there. We're currently proposing 225 spaces.
Yeah, hi, this is Chris Malicki with Stingle Hill Architecture. Address is 613 West Main Street, Louisville, Kentucky, 40202. I can walk you through some of the floor plans of the building to give you a little bit of an orientation. As Adam has said, or as Jason has said as well, there are 3 main portions of the building. The central portion here, this is the hospital building. And on the first floor, basically the layout on the first floor is the admitting department, the administration areas, as well as the dining population. We also have some exterior activity courtyards in the back for patients. The patient wings are above as you'll see here in a minute. The pedway that Jason spoke about is here. It connects the 1-story gym building, which will be used for internal recreation for the patients. And then to the left side here is the Department of Mental Health unit, 30-bed unit, which has its own exterior connected activity yard. This is the layout of the upper floors. Basically, all 3 floors are the same, but they will house different patient populations. In the lower left is the second floor. It's a 48-bed unit. Patient beds ring the outside, so they all have nice exterior views of nature. And then the internal functions for staff are on the inside. We have our nursing stations on each end of the building that give us nice, good views down the corridors that will be able to have patients in view at all times. 48 beds on the second floor, 48 beds on the third floor, and 24 beds currently are scheduled on the fourth floor for a total of 120 beds. These are some exterior views. You can see the taller portion here in the view on the lower left. This is a view from the northeast, looking back towards Lower Westfield Road. The taller portion in the middle is what we're here today to talk about. This is the 4-story building. The gym building is the lower 1-story building, and then the DMH unit also is a 1-story building. You can see the activity yard fencing here for the 4-story hospital portion, and also the DMH unit here in the back. That will be a proposed 12-foot high precast fencing system, which will be painted to match the character of the building. And this is an aerial shot in the upper right-hand corner, which shows the site plan layout with the existing exterior context of the surrounding properties around the building. A few more views of the hospital. Here's a view in the upper right from the Lower Westfield Road, looking at the 4-story hospital portion. And this is one from the northwest looking at the entrance to the building. Exterior character of the building on the front will be mainly constructed of stone, brick, and metal panels. We're planning on using materials and colors similar to some existing Bay State facilities in the region. A couple more views. View on the end of the southwest portion of the hospital. It shows the loading dock area. We'll screen that with a wall of similar materials and character as the building, so it's not able to be viewed from the Lower Westfield Road. In the upper right-hand corner, you'll see a view of the entrance drop-off portion at the 1-story DMH unit.
And Chris, this is Jason Castillo, and I did want to say, as far as the exterior renderings go, as far as finished materials, not only did we get inspiration from Bay State and some of their designs, but we also looked at some of the surrounding buildings in the local area to pull from that, to pay homage to that area, because we don't want to build a crazy modern looking building in an area that's not necessarily designed that way. So we were looking at the apartment buildings that are across the street just to pull some of that inspiration into our design.
Good point, Jason.
Okay, that looks like the end of the PowerPoint. The one thing I didn't. So the RO zone allows a 40-foot max. What are we targeting now for the height of the facility, gentlemen?
The height of the main hospital, the 4-story portion of the hospital, will be approximately 65 feet to the top of the parapet. There are a few stair towers, 2 stair towers on either end, which approach 70 feet in height.
Okay. I mean, it's, okay, well, let's do it this way. I started last time. Counselors from the committee have questions. Counselor Graney first, and if you gentlemen have a question, just raise your hand. Counselor Graney.
Yes, sir. Thank you for your interest in Holyoke. Just one quick question. Looking at the layout of the design, the 3 floors that have the bed units, are there 48 beds? They're all double bed units?
Currently for this is Jason Castile, the 2nd and 3rd floor are 48 beds, so semi-private, and the 4th floor is currently 24 beds, and those are all private beds at this point.
Okay, thank you. The other question is just quickly, will you be subcontracting with local contractors, or will you bring your own crews in?
So we haven't made a decision on a general contractor at this point in time. RFPs are out on the project to make that selection, but then when it gets time to subcontractors on board, we're highly encouraging local participation. Some of that depends on the qualifications on whether those local subs can perform the work, but it will be a bid out process with looking at minority-owned businesses, small businesses, women-owned businesses, just to see what participation we can get, and again, to support the local community. So it's highly encouraged, and a part of our RFP for our general contractor was to stipulate what they expect to be local trades, union trades, minority trades, small business trades. So as we evaluate the responses from them, that is a deciding factor that we will consider when selecting our general contractor.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much, Mr. Castillo.
Counselor Tallman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Jason, for throwing that the description of the building, what you're doing there. My little bit of my concern is, and I know you'll probably come up later with the site plan, is that's a very busy area there. You got like a 4-way stop there at Holy Family Road and Lower Westfield Road. Are you going to do something in that area to sort of traffic-wise to try to make it, safer in that area?
We are currently going through our site plan approval process with the planning board. We've presented this design as currently shown to them, and that has not been a topic of discussion. If the council members feel that there's something we need to look at, we will absolutely and certainly look at that on any revisions that may need to be made.
Right. And on the back portion, you said where that building is, you have an outdoor area off of the back larger building. Is that a recreational area? Does that go right back to basically the top of the building up by the hill?
Can you clarify that one more time? Or Chris, maybe can you share your screen again just so we can point out? I want to make sure I answer your question correctly, Council.
Yeah.
So maybe go to an aerial shot, Chris, as it's coming up.
Yeah, that back area behind the building, that area is that the ridge up in the top? That's a fenced in, that's just an outdoor play area, or is that a basketball area?
Yeah, so the exterior activity courtyard is fully fenced in. Both activity courtyards are fenced in with proposed 12-foot tall fences.
Okay, that whole area. Okay, and the main entrance is going to be off to the right where that red line is. It's right there.
Yes, that is the main entrance to the hospital. Yes.
Okay, and as far as like deliveries and all that, is that coming around the back? You said there's an area for loading.
Chris, do you mind you going? Yes, going back one. There we go.
Apologize for the delay. It's a large file.
So yes, off to the right of the screen, as you can see, the drive comes up, and then we've got a concrete loading dock area where we're potentially housing dumpsters, generator, and that is our loading for the building that will funnel through and feed the rest. So all loading in a designated zone off the main fire loop road that we have going around the so nothing would interfere.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All set.
Okay. Counselor Sullivan's all set. Counselor Murphy. Oh, you're all set? Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you had a question. Okay. Okay, so we're going from 40 feet max to 65 feet. All right, I mean, it's a rather isolated area. The councilors have questions or concerns about the building height? Mike, no? You're not worried about it? All right, yeah, I'm not either. But I just wanted to hear you say it. Okay. Terry? No concerns at all. Howie? Nope. Okay, let's see. Am I missing any counselors waving their hands at me that had their hand up for more than 3 seconds and they're upset? Okay, Counselor Bacon's joined us. Does she have her hand up? Okay, okay. So Jeff, just give me a yell if somebody has their hand up. Because I just had to. Hey, gentlemen, Chris, could you go to just kind of comb through the screens? I want to the one with yeah, keep going. Yeah, keep going. That one right there. Okay, let's just take a look at it. So I realize we're talking about building height. We all understand that, gentlemen. Okay, but this is a second bite at the apple. So if you look at the convergence of the 3 roads of Lower Westfield Road, Holy Family Road, and then it kind of continues to the right of the screen. That's the intersection that Councilor Tallman just referenced, and it is a complete cluster bomb, and it's a 3-way stop with a myriad of issues, specifically people just ignoring the 3-way stop, and now we're talking about 200 to 300 more employees with probably 150 cars unless they carpool. It's going to be an interesting little dynamic on that road. The other part, of course, gentlemen, is as you travel south on Holy Family Road, you're going to travel past a ball field where yours truly set many records, all of them in my imagination, and then you're going to come up to a stop sign, and then you're going to be in an incredibly dense area, the Whiting Farms apartments, and so the hope is, to the extent that is humanly possible, that you will advise employees and their and patients and their guests to try to limit the motor vehicle traffic in that area. So it's going to be enough. I mean, I don't think there's a big. You're certainly going to go buy a couple houses on Lower Westfield. I mean, there's no way around that. Probably 4, to my recollection. And when you hit that aforesaid intersection, and where you guys are going to, to a person, you're going to take the left into the complex. You will see as time marches forward, once you're operational, that intersection really is going to need some tender, loving care, a lot of it. But beyond that, to try to avoid the traffic and the congestion in that residential area, even though you might want to cut through or something, hopefully that'll be something that you'll take back to your clients and their staff and all that going forward. As far as the building height goes, I certainly don't have an issue, but we are in a public hearing, and we are going to. Could you just remove the share screen? I'm good to go with that. We are in a public hearing. So first things first. Do we have any department heads here that want to address the committee on this topic? If you could raise your hands on here. I don't see any department heads doing that. Aaron Vega. Aaron.
Good evening. Just here showing I'm here for the other orders, but just showing my support for this project. They're moving through their site plan review right now, as you know, and we have a meeting with Councilor/Mayor tomorrow, so things are progressing forward. And as everyone knows, this was a problem property for the city for a long time, so have it to be redeveloped is really great. Priority for us, so look forward to working with them, and thank you for taking this up tonight.
Thank you. Any other department heads that are, Aaron, where are, hold on, Councilor Bacon. Aaron, where are we with this, the planning board and the site plan review process? How many meetings have we had, and where is it in the
I think we just had
timeline?
one. I think they're back before us on the 22nd, correct, Jason?
I was going to say, Aaron, if you want me, so we've had actually 2 meetings with the planning board, and we are expecting approval on the 22nd. We've gone through, answered all comments, pending conditional approvals, working through the stormwater authority, local utility companies, and so far everything's been going great.
Okay, that's great news, guys. And as Howie mentioned earlier, and Howie's actually absolutely right. We certainly welcome kennels to Holyoke, and we certainly welcome corporate entities to Holyoke as well, to the best of our ability. But we are a small community, and we do have our questions. Councilor Bacon has her hand up. Councilor, welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm sorry I signed on a little bit late, but I did hear a good bulk of the presentation prior to signing on. I just wanted, as the Ward 5 City Councilor, to thank you for your investment and service development within our city. And I do appreciate the comments that have been made relative to the traffic issues and mitigation efforts that might be brought to bear, although there are limits within that particular area on doing that. But I'm supportive of the program. I'm supportive of your variance or special permit to allow the greater height on that one building. And I'm sure as we go forward, there will be adequate time to inform the neighbors that are the direct abutters that have expressed some different concerns relative to security and people in the area. And I'm sure we can work all those things through in a very constructive way to be a win-win for everyone here in the city and for your efforts to serve the greater public. So thank you.
Thank you. Just point of personal privilege to Acting Mayor Murphy. Acting Mayor Murphy, any updates on the 3-foot high grass?
I sent out information yesterday. I have not got a reply today as of yet.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman?
Councilor Bacon.
If I may, Mr. McManus did write to me on the weekend and said that early this week they would be out there mowing.
Oh, that's good news, because at this point right now, we could challenge the Dominican nuns with on Riverdale Road when they're ready for harvest over there with. Actually, it's quite attractive when they roll up all the bales of hay. I have to say. Is that okay for me to say?
And I did, and I may have missed this earlier in the presentation. I did reach out to him to see if he knew when the new owners would be taking possession of the property, and I don't know if you already addressed that tonight.
No, we haven't addressed it. When maybe Acting Mayor Murphy can address that.
If I might, we have a discussion tomorrow.
Okay.
Which I'm hoping will create a resolution to whatever the problems are. We have a meeting tomorrow, and Mike, I know you helped coordinate it. I think it's 12:45.
Well, look at this. See, this is just example number 37. Well, it's great to have the acting mayor with us. It's just great. It's very helpful. I hope the mayoral candidates watch this meeting will consider doing that down the road. Okay. Anything else? So we asked the public if anyone's here. We didn't see anybody. We asked department heads if anybody's here. Let's make sure if I ask the public. Is anyone here from the public that wants to weigh in on this matter? Raise your hand. Pro or con? Seeing and hearing none. Department heads, we already asked that. Committee members, Council Tallman.
Yeah, just it's a point, Mr. Chairman, if we could get a copy of that PowerPoint to our administrative assistant so the rest of the council could have that.
Yeah, is Mike Knappich or anybody, is that something can be arranged?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so Jason, I guess, or Chris, anybody, you can email Jeff Anderson Burgos, and then Jeff will forward that to each member of the city council. As Councilor Green reminded me, we will take a vote, but we just recommend. The full city council makes the determination, and then subject to mayoral approval and et cetera, et cetera. Okay, I'll take a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion to close the public hearing?
Motion is made and seconded to close the public hearing and discussion. Hearing none on the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Under discussion, anything?
Just,
Council Tallman.
yeah, just on the, I know we said the 65 feet to the top, but actually the towers are 70 feet, so you'll be looking for the height of 70 feet for the change?
Yes, sir.
Okay, just want to make sure it's 70.
Okay, so I'll take a motion to recommend for approval granting of a special permit.
Recommend that we approve the special permit.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to approve the special permit as proposed. Under discussion. Hearing and seeing none. On the motion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None. Okay, 4-0 to recommend to the full city council that we grant a special permit for a construction of a 4-story hospital in the RO zone, okay? All right, thank you, gentlemen, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, moving west. Oh, look at this. Agenda item 4, boy, we move fast in this body, don't we? I'll take a motion to suspend and take 4 and 4A as a package off the table.
Motion to suspend the rules and take items 4 and 4A off the table.
Motion
Discussion.
made and seconded to suspend the rules and remove from the agenda items number 4 and 4A. Motion made and seconded. On discussion, hearing none on the motion, all in favor? Aye. Agenda item 4, Sullivan, McGee, That HG, alphabet soup, HG&E, DPW, OCC, and ConCom meet with DGR to explore opportunities to combine resources and implement a program to move utilities in the ground in the Valley Heights area. 4A, Ms. Kerr, letter of support to the petition of the Holyoke Gas and Electric and Verizon to relocate the poles for Valley Heights. This is not a public hearing, so we're going to be very clear on that. However, it has always been our practice to suspend our rules and allow department heads and the public to address on some particular matter. So I'll take a motion on that right now because I know what's going to happen. So a motion to suspend.
Motion to suspend the rules to let the department heads speak or anybody?
Public.
Second.
Motion made in second, suspend our rules on the motion. All in favor? Aye. Okay. All right. So we have what was a very lengthy public hearing before us, and it still is continued in City Council, and that'll be renewed on at the next City Council meeting, and which is tomorrow and the 15th. So with that, I'm going to turn this over to the maker of. I know we got Councilor McGee is here. I know we've got the HG&E people here. It's wonderful to see you all. Let's see here. Councilor Sullivan, do you want to sort of guide us as to how you want us to proceed at this point?
Sure. Just to bring everybody up to date, we've made great progress on this. I'll let the department people here speak to it, but it looks like we're moving towards a resolution. We've been able to trim, I'd say, somewhere close to $200,000 off the cost of the delta, the difference between putting the poles in, and it looks like we should be able to move forward with a withdrawal request on the pole placements. But I'll let the department heads go ahead and speak to what they've been able to resolve because they've been most helpful, and then I can do a quick summary as to where we're.
Okay, Mike, thanks so much. So I can't see that far. I see Kate there, and who Kate? Let's introduce yourself and who's with. I can't see it.
It's on the big screen.
Oh.
Sure. Good evening. It's Jeff Brouillard.
Oh, I know. Hi, Jeff. How you doing?
Hi, Councilor Bartley. How are you?
Okay, yeah. Jeff and I talk on the phone. We don't actually ever meet in person. That's for sure. But
no, we don't.
Nice to meet on the Zoomer. Okay, so Kate Sullivan, Jeff Brouillard, and Kate, I know you're married, but you're gonna be Kate Sullivan. That's just the way it goes. Okay, so why don't you elaborate on what Mike just stated, please?
Sure. Well, thank you, Chairman Bartley and members of the committee for having us here again before you tonight. So HG&E obviously is working on a solution for Valley Heights. There's infrastructure running through the backyards on both the east and west side of the street currently that needs to be replaced. We studied replacing those poles in kind in the backyards. We studied a public right-of-way solution overhead, and we've most recently studied an underground solution for Valley Heights. After analyzing the lifetime cost of the three potential infrastructure solutions, we came up with a shortfall of approximately $100,000. So that's after looking at tree trimming in the backyards and how much that would cost over time, and some of the obstruction removal that we would have to do as well. So it had been, the 100,000 had been a larger number, but last week we were able to speak to Verizon and Comcast, and they have committed to coming underground with us, which is going to help the cost significantly. So we over the last week or two have been working with various city departments just to see if there are opportunities for additional funding that could assist in lowering that cost a little bit further. So the delta right now is approximately $100,000. So the proposed design currently is going to be to bring all the facilities underground, remove 9 poles from the backyards along Valley Heights on both the east and west side. So there's 9 poles total, but there are 2 poles that will have to be replaced. So, and both of those poles will be on the public right-of-way in front of 42 Valley Heights. And that is that first house on the right-hand side of the street. And we've worked with that customer. We've talked to him several times. He just put in a new driveway and garage. Right now, the pole on his property is probably about 15 feet off the curb line. So he's happy to move that pole and guy wire. The guy wire will be removed, but the pole will come a little bit closer to the curb. So he's happy to kind of move that pole down further on his property. So only will there be 2 poles in front of his property, and then beyond that, the rest of the street will be completely underground. And that is just the first 230 feet of the street, feet of the street. And then as soon as you take that left and right, everything will be underground. So we are requesting that HG&E's pole petition be removed tomorrow night. But Verizon's pole petition will need to be amended from the 7 poles to two poles that will be in front of 42 Valley Heights along the public right-of-way.
Got it. Okay. Okay. Thanks, Kate, for that summary. Jeff, did you want to supplement that, or are you good to go?
We're good to go.
Okay.
She covered it well.
Okay. Councilors have question marks? Terry, you're set? Okay.
So I can,
Mike?
I think Councilor Graney might.
Oh, yeah, Howie. Councilor Graney.
Yeah, just quickly, I'm very pleased that we're moving in this direction. I think it's the best thing for all the residents in the city and Valley Heights, and I think it's great that we're going to go this way. Thank you.
Yeah, I want to thank Councilor Bartley for ending that dog and pony show the other night, because that was going on way too long to get us to a point which is at this point here too. And so I want to thank Councilors Sullivan and McGee as well for kind of doing something here to sort of change the dynamic a little bit. It was getting a little too rambunctious at that last meeting. Councilor Sullivan, you want to?
Do we have Councilor McGee on?
Yeah,
I do. What, does he have his hand up?
yeah.
I don't see it.
It's on his board. It says Councilor McGee raised his hand, I think, on the big board.
The big board. Councilor McGee, you're on the big board. What's up?
I'm on the big board. Yeah. Am I getting drafted?
You're getting drafted. You're the floor.
Not what team? No. In all seriousness, to this board, thank you for taking this up as fast as you did. Councilor Sullivan and I filed it, and you were able to get on tonight's agenda to help out the residents in this area, and also to HG&E and everyone else just, working together to come up with a solution that worked for this area. And it's a unique area, and after everyone working together, we got to the compromise that I think we need to make it safe and functional for everyone in that area. So thank you to the committee members for taking up quickly, and to the residents for working with us to make sure that we got this right. And HG&E can't thank you enough for taking the time to keep delaying it to then come up with this solution. So thank you, everyone.
Okay, Council Sullivan?
Yep. So just in summary, I'd like also, the coordination here between HG&E and the DPW. There was work scheduled for this street already. They've been able to coordinate that, and a big chunk of the cost also was removed there from doing the asphalt work at the same time and not having to do it. That took about $80,000 off the cost of doing the project separate and doing them at the same time. So that was a great effort on the part of the two departments. As far as the difference now, the extra costs, and I see Yoni on there. Our agreement, as I understand it, HG&E will go ahead. All they're asking is that we make an effort to see if there are availability, through the mayor's office and through the different departments to access any other funds to help offset that $100,000 difference. If we can come up with any others, whether it be because of conservation restrictions in the back or other things where we might be able to get some funds applied to it, that's fine, but it won't hold the project either way. Gas and Electric's ready to step to the plate on it.
Okay, Yoni, did you want to weigh in?
Oh, yeah. Thank you, Mr. Chair. This certainly seems like a worthwhile project. I did a site walk with Jeff Boulais from HG&E on May 18th and got the lay of the land in this situation. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to find any funding sources that would be applicable to this project from a conservation point of view. We have our Community Preservation Act, but for conservation projects, for open space projects to be applicable, any rehabilitation and restoration would have to be for properties that were acquired and created with CPA funds, which this was not. Happy to write a letter of support. I'm sure the commission would get behind this. But I haven't been able to find anything that we could offer to offset the 100,000 remaining.
Okay, thank you.
And just to be clear, we're not after any one department for 100,000. We're looking anything that any of the departments through OCD, through CPA or CDBG can find a way is most welcome. But if not, as I said, HG&E is ready to move forward.
Councilor Murphy, did you want to weigh in on this?
No, I'm all set. I'm pleased that the G&E has worked with everybody to try to come up with a solution that I think will please most of the people of Valley Heights, and also has done something to try to lower the cost dramatically. So, and everybody's cooperated, so I appreciate that.
Okay, all right, thanks, Terry. Any further discussion from anybody at HG&E or anywhere else? I don't see anyone else. Okay, any council have questions? No? Okay, well, you want to take a motion? I'll take a motion. It's been complied with.
Motion on items number 4 and 4A have been complied with.
Second.
Motion made and second has been complied with. On the motion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thank you, everybody, for that, and we'll give this report at the next meeting. Okay. All right, so we're going to suspend the rules, and we're going to take 5 through 14 as a package, please.
So moved.
Okay. Motion made and seconded to take off the table and suspend the rules as a package, to take off the table agenda items 5 to 14 under discussion. Hearing none on the motion. All in favor? Aye. And I already heard a motion for an abridged reading, which is we are going to give that. So these are a bunch of orders filed under my name relative to declaring parcels surplus. I believe they're all for surplus, but let's just make sure. So 12 Main Street, 15,008, well, I'll give you the assessed value. 12 Main Street, declare that surplus. 22 Main Street, declare that surplus. High Street parcel, declare that surplus. Second High Street parcel, declare that surplus. 394 High Street, declare that surplus. 400 High Street, declare that surplus. 588 High Street, declare that surplus. 297 Elm Street as surplus property. 301 Elm Street as surplus property. And 303 Elm Street as surplus property. Because we had a duplicate. No, 15 is a duplicate of 12, and I think that's one or is that the one no, it's replaced by 14. Yeah, okay, replaced by 14. Okay, that's right. So 15, I think we can just give that lead to a draw ultimately. So Jeff, am I right on that?
Yeah, it was the wrong address.
Okay, it's the wrong address. Okay. All right, so we've got them all before us, 5 through 14. I hope I said that right, but that's what's before us now. We have Aaron Vega with us and John Dijek from OPED. Why don't you tell us what's happening, gentlemen?
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and to the members of the committee. Thank you. We're hoping to have this conversation a bunch more with you in the future. We're trying to move some properties as we start to get interest, both from abutters and businesses happening in our downtown. And so we're trying to move some of these properties into the tax rolls and get them developed. So looking forward to work with you on this. There are a few perhaps that we may need to reconsider as we move through this and maybe consider withdrawing, and we can explain why as we get through them. John has as a walkthrough. I have the PowerPoint up, Jeff, if you need me to share it, or I don't know if Jeff was going to share it.
I think John said he was going to be sharing it.
Okay, so if you want to give me screen share.
Yeah, you should have access.
Okay. So I'll screen share and John will walk us through. So let's see. Okay. You guys see this? Can everyone see this?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. So there's the orders. And
Thanks, Aaron. If I could take it from here. So just repeating, there were 10 properties proposed to be declared surplus, and we'll go through each one of those quickly. There were, however, 4 that we learned additional information after submitting the order that we would like to suggest the consideration to leave to withdraw. But I'll start with the ones first that we want to request to be surplus, and those are numbers. We'll start with 12 Main Street and 22 Main Street, which are adjacent to each other. Just near the corner of Mosier and Main Street, the city declared the parcels adjacent. There's one other city-owned parcel that was previously declared surplus. So these, there's been private interest to acquire these parcels, and we'd like to move them forward to be made available to receive offers on them. Aaron, the next 2 we don't have maps for them, but why don't we just go back into the main list on the first page, Aaron, and the 3rd and 4th properties were ones we would consider to leave to withdraw. These are the corner parking lot on the corner of High Street and Hamden Street, right across from Fernandez Restaurant. There was interest from developers there's some good things happening at the very north end of High Street to some of the former vacant buildings, the Wernick Furniture Building, and actually the buildings on the opposite side of the street now. And some of those developers approached us about acquiring these properties. And after further discussion, we want to support these developers for their parking needs, but after further discussion with Mike McManus, we may find a separate arrangement to lease them to the city parking lot, a certain number of city parking lots, spots, I should say. And also Mike had indicated the importance of this parking lot to other businesses, abutters. And so we are suggesting numbers 3 and 4 to consider the leave to withdraw.
Okay, so John, hold on. We're going to stop you right there. So
Okay.
on our agenda, it's items 7 and 8 that you want to now say give leave to withdraw. So that's Assessors Map. Both are Assessors Map 12, Block 1. One's Parcel 9, and one is Parcel 10. Is that true, John?
That is accurate. Yes. Thank you.
Okay. All right. And so at this stage of the game, you want to sort of keep these in-house. You do not want to declare either one surplus. True?
Yeah, true.
Correct.
Okay. All right. So, all right. Well, we heard you on that, and we'll let let's just comb through it. I just want to note it for counselors and then anybody watching at home, so who's got the agenda, just so they can follow it. So go ahead, John.
Okay. The next two also are adjacent to each other, and these are well-known properties. 400 High Street and actually 394 and 400 High Street. Aaron, I don't think we have a page for them, but these were also considered to leave to withdraw, and they are numbers 9 and 10 on the council's agenda. Again, after further discussion with the DPW director, we've got more information that a plan to improve that section of High Street and on the rear side create some off-street parking has gotten further along than we were aware of. So at least at this time, we would like to suggest the leave to withdraw, not to consider surplus, because there are other concepts and plans in place that Mike has been working on.
All right, Johnny, I got oriented with 7 and 8. Why don't just orient me with 9 and 10? What's the landmark near them, please? What's the building? Is it?
9 and 10 are the former Hotel Essex property and the adjacent property where the MD Beauty Salon was last, and they're both demolished.
Okay, so that's the big gaping hole in High Street.
Yes.
On the right-hand side as we're traveling north. Okay.
Correct.
All right. Okay, proceed.
Item 7 is the building that was just recently demolished. That's across from the fire station. I believe it was. I'm drawing a blank on the pharmacy that was there years ago, but on the first floor. But that building is gone now. It makes sense for us to try to market it to an abutter. Right now it's a vacant lot, so we'd like to proceed with declaring that one surplus. And then after this one, there are 3 adjacent parcels on Elm Street that we have 297, 301, and 303. There's been private interest for these parcels. I should also say for all of the parcels that we're requesting to be surplus, that they're also in the urban renewal plan. And we're suggesting that they go through the route of disposition through the city, just because there is private interest now. Usually, the redevelopment authority would get more involved to more develop a project in terms of finding resources and things like that. But these, we think there's private interest, so we want to get these to market sooner than later. I should also say the properties on Elm Street were also at one time, or actually still, in the MOU with the Housing Authority for the former Lawrence School property MOU. However, they've indicated interest that if there's private interest, they would not stand in the way if we wanted to pursue a private development. So of the 10 orders, we're asking that 4 be considered for leave to withdraw and the other 6 to be declared surplus and available for disposition.
Okay, John, thank you for the summary. Aaron, did you want to supplement anything John said?
Just in that, again, like we move these, as we garner interest. So we're not just doing these randomly. We already know that there will be interest in these. And again, we're going to work with Mike McManus and the developers on High Street to ensure that they can get some parking for their development there. It looks like something we can work out. So we're excited about that option.
All right. I saw Ms. McManus on the Zoom.
Yeah, I think he left.
He left. Okay.
I mean, I guess I would just say, so that those parking lots, the ones on Hamden and High, those are municipally run, and so he does have, pre-COVID, he did have a number of monthly renters there. I believe at like $40 or $50 a month. So they were generating some revenue. So he's willing to work with the developers of the building next door to get some parking with them. And again, there may be some creative thinking because it may be some for residents. So it may only need parking, not during business hours. There may be some commercial spots that they want to have some off-street parking for as well. So we'll be working with Mike McManus and the city engineer to make that happen for that development.
That's good news, Aaron. Just tell me what's, I know this is a touch off the agenda, but it's proximate to it. You just said that there's a developer for the building next door, and I assume you're referring to the building that faces Hamden Street next to that parking lot?
No, we're talking
okay.
about
Okay.
That would be the old Triangle Shoe Store building.
So you're okay. I'll back down High Street. Okay, all right.
On High Street, yes, on High Street. It's the Kraft building, is it?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, that's great, guys. I was hoping there was something going on with a building on Hamden Street, but maybe that's for another day.
Yeah,
so.
we'll put that one on the list, sir. But the developers who have got the building, I believe it's the Kraft Mount or Kraft Works building, with those parking lots. They're also the ones on the same block of High Street that have the buildings that are looking to do a residential above the recently opened Kind Eli's, Serve Food, and the Bungalow Cafe, I think it's called. So they've already developed the commercial spaces. Now they're going upstairs for residential, and this is their next project.
Yeah, I gotta be honest. I'd love to. This is just nice being back in City Hall. So when I go home, I can sort of take a quick little ride by the sites you just mentioned. Okay, enough of me. Any councilors have questions for Council Sullivan?
Yeah. John or Aaron, could you put 12 and 22 back up on the screen again?
Right there.
Okay.
There's 12, yep, and it's the lot right next to it.
Yep. Okay, got it. Yep. No, I know what we're talking about here now.
Yeah, that's the triangle place. Yep.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure it wasn't the parcel abutting the Conti, the former Silvio Conti building. But nope, that's good. Thank you. Yep.
Council Tallman.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Aaron and John, for just going back on that area there. Is that where there was like a used tire shop or something, or a printing shop? Is that right next door to it? Right before you go down Mosher Street, is it?
Yes, that's correct. Like, there's a new owner to that building fairly recently.
Okay, so those are the areas that are surplus, those two properties right there?
There's, yes, exactly. Numbers 22, it's actually, I can't see it, but it's parcel 2 and 3. The parcel 1 closest right there, that was already declared surplus several years ago. And the vacant parcel right next door is owned by the building where you referenced there's a used auto tire there. And I don't, we haven't had the discussion in terms of what, there's some concepts they're considering for that building, but I don't know exactly what the plans are for the current state of the building.
And that last lot there, is that where that was a car deal, a auto shop that was taken down? Was that the one? Yeah, the collapse?
Exactly right.
Is that owned by the city now or no? Right? Is that owned by the city, that lot, or no?
No, that's privately owned, and I believe these owners of the building just to the south have actually been in contact with this property owner also. So no, that last one is not city owned.
Oh, it isn't? Okay, because I know it's been vacant for a number of years. I just, that's all right before.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
Mr. Chairman?
Councilor Murphy.
What's up, Shannon? Or any other questions on the share, or?
Hold on a sec. Councilor Murphy has a question. Councilor Murphy has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So I'm all in favor of most of these, and I want to thank putting the Elm Street properties on. I've been trying to get that. Those are properties that if we can get developed, and I know we got some people that are interested. We've had problems on that corner, and we've had meetings in public safety about some of the other properties there. So it would definitely be a plus. And I want to thank the Housing Authority for agreeing to remove that from the memorandum of agreement regarding the potential middle school on Chestnut Street. Also, I want to have a question in terms of 394 and 400 High Street, because am I hearing correctly that we're talking about doing a city project? Because I have had people coming to me talking about potentially investing and doing some improvements there as well. So if the city is trying to do something, before I would want to give at least withdraw, I kind of have an idea what the city's trying to do versus what the people that have been approaching me might want to do.
Okay, so what you want to do it one at a time. Terry, did you want them to address Elm Street?
Well, M Street, I think we're all on the same page, and I worked with Aaron and John and in the Housing Authority, and I appreciate them realizing that this is an opportunity that has been vacant for way too long and had too many problems for way too long. So I really would like to just address the 394 and 400 High Street, and again, recognize that I've actually met with people in the last few days who have.
So, gentlemen, why don't you tell us what's your perspective? Why you want to remove this from our orders?
Sure, I'll start, and I will, in speaking for another department head, just sort of referencing what we know at this point.
Okay.
So I'm not sure if it's two projects or the same project, but we know that there's a improvement to High Street coming down the pike, where the light improvements, the bump outs, the curb cuts, etc. Additionally, it's our understanding that there's a project that at least 25% design that would look at that lot as both a drive and walk pass through to possible off-street parking on Newton Street. There's a bunch of city-owned lots on Newton Street, and I believe that there's been some discussion about a Newton Street bigger project, especially with the ARPA funds. And so the idea of closing this off at this point was not recommended, or was asked by Mike McManus that we not do that, because there is a plan that would connect High Street through to a parking lots behind onto Newton Street. So that is, and I guess, again, I knew that was a concept a few years ago, did not realize it was actually at least 25% design. But we had a butter interest in these lots, which is why we moved them. And then DPW Director Mike McManus, we connected with him, and he reached out and said that they had a plan for those. So
well,
I guess there to go over that with Mike, if that's something you want to get caught up on, for sure.
Aaron, so I guess the my feeling is I certainly heard you on the corner one for our items 7 and 8. Maybe we just want to table that for now, or give a lead to draw. But for 9 and 10, that gaping hole has got to be addressed. And putting this out to surplus doesn't do anything. It just means that. It means it's available for disposition until we get a ready, willing, and able buyer. And if we don't, then we still have the option to move it along through a municipal project. So Terry, what's your position on this?
I mean, based on the conversations that I've had, two things. Number one, I know there's a High Street project, but as I understand it, we're talking state money, and it's either in 22 or 23 before the High Street project is going to take place, which means that's another 2 years of having the vacant lot there. And if we are in a position to have, I would say we put it to surplus and hear proposals. If those proposals happen to improve High Street and do so quicker, and do so with private investment, and do so in paying more taxes, and being an attraction to downtown, which the people I've talked to, that seems to be what their thoughts are, I would just like us to at least solicit the proposals at some point, and if the proposals are not as good as I'm hoping they are, or hoping they would be, then we can certainly continue to wait. But I think it gives us a chance to improve that area quicker. It gives us a chance to enhance some of the businesses that are there now. And I would just encourage us to take a look at it, and then we obviously can deter if we feel that the proposal to provide a link to parking is more beneficial long term. We certainly can make that judgment, but I would encourage us to at least get a comparison.
John, go ahead. John Dijak.
Thank you. So I understand and agree there has been interest from abutters contacting our office, and we've generally mentioned to them that there has been some interest in a city project, but I think it would be also important to get more specifics on the concept that would be maybe possibly before putting it out to bids, because realistically, we may not be able to put it out to bid for a period of time, just given the capacity. We have a few going out soon, and we have others that are still in process. So I think it would be important to hear more specifics on the plans for this parcel and the area in back of it.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, what's the pleasure, gentlemen?
Do you want me to stop sharing?
Oh,
It's okay.
yeah, I think we can stop sharing. Thank you, Aaron, for that. I appreciate your taking charge of that. And you too, John, obviously. Okay. So, OPED, do you have any other further comments before we take a vote?
Nope.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Any other counselors have comments on this? No. So, okay. Well, I mean, I guess. Well, why don't we do the easy one first? Why don't we? Because we got them all before us. Why don't we take a motion on 7 and 8 to give that leave to withdraw?
Make a motion to take items number 7 and 8 and give them leave to withdraw.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to give agenda items 7 and 8 leave to withdraw in discussion. I think we heard from OPED on that. So and they want to explore some further things with DPW and Mike McManus, furthermore on that parcel. So on those parcels. Any further discussion? Hearing none. On the motion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. So Jeff, 7 and 8, we're going to recommend to the body to give these to leave to withdraw. Let's see. Agenda items 5, 11, 12, 13, and 14. I'll take a motion to declare them surplus.
How about 6?
I'm sorry.
5 and 6.
I'm sorry, fellas. I'm sorry. Let's do that again. 5, 6, 11, 12, 13, and 14. I'll take a motion to declare them surplus.
I make a motion to take items number 5, 6, 11, 12, 13, 14, declare those surplus and available for disposition.
Motion's made and seconded to declare the aforesaid parcels, to recommend to declare this aforesaid parcel surplus and available for disposition. Under discussion. I think we heard what we heard already, gents. So anything else? Hearing none on the motion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. So just to recap that for Jeff, because it makes, we declared surplus, or recommended 5, 6, 11, 12, 13, and 14. Okay, so that leaves us with 9 and 10 on this one. So, which is the areas around the Essex House. So, does anybody want to make a motion on that?
Can I just have a comment?
Tolman.
And I understand, I hear both sides of the issue here. Is it possible just to keep these tabled, possibly, and if we have a meeting in July? I mean, just so that way if we hear anything either from the developer or if we hear anything from the Mike McManus, that we have some kind of, solid plan that we could bring this up possibly in the August meeting. That's my thought. I don't know if the council feels about
Councilor
that.
Murphy, you have a comment on that?
If I would encourage you, and Aaron and John, you correct me if I'm wrong, but we could declare it surplus, and we do not have to accept a proposal as something that we need to do. We can get proposals out there, and it could still be surplus if we don't like the proposals and we want to prefer to wait for their plan. But if we don't declare it surplus, then all the proposals, or any proposals that we get, should we want to go out, are going to be informal.
That is right.
To the chair,
Go ahead.
I don't deny you're wrong. I guess we're just trying to be respectful to our fellow department head, and so I should have connected him more when he was on the meeting to make sure he stayed for this. But you're right. I mean, you are right. I mean, we could put it out, and if nothing comes in or things you don't like, you don't have to move it forward, of course. And if you want to set up a separate meeting with Mike McManus as opposed to the full council, I guess that's sort of the question. If these aren't laid on the table, I don't know if someone would do a separate order to have Mike McManus come in for this committee to answer other questions, perhaps maybe projects in the pipeline or something. I think Councilor Chalman was just trying to look for a way to bring Mike McManus into the committee.
If I can.
Again, just put it out there.
If I can.
Councilor Murphy.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, and I have no problem bringing Mike into the discussion. To me, declaring it surplus then allows us to compare, are we getting other proposals as opposed to what the proposal from the superintendent is? I'm not trying to leave him out of there. I just think I want to open up as many options as possible so we look at it from a perspective. This could be something that's done in 6 months or 3 months or 8 months, whatever the case might be, versus this might be done in 2 years. And what's the benefit of one versus the other? And if we don't declare it surplus, we're not going to get that full comparison. We declare it surplus, I think we get the full comparison, and we say, this is too good, the superintendent's plan for the DPW is too good to pass up, or we say the proposals that have come in from private investors in terms of what they can do and what they plan on doing in the near future is too good for us to wait for the other, and are there other ways that we could do connecting to Newton Street if that's the goal?
Councilor Sullivan?
Yeah, I just want to concur with what Councilor Murphy just said. We've seen this numerous times now. There's nothing, when we declare it surplus, there's nothing we still have to have any offers come before us. Let's get it out there, see what other offers there are, what other interests there are, so we have something to compare and not hold up that process. That doesn't mean we have to accept what comes along. So I'd be in favor of declaring it surplus.
Yeah, I guess I'd be in favor of declaring it surplus, because you would also have the option of, all you're doing is recommending it to the full city council. So between now and tomorrow, if Mr. McManus wants to get back to us to say, with an argument, or better yet, talk to the acting mayor with an argument, that would be the time to do it. We can send it right back to this committee, or we have a few options before. So I guess that's my take.
John,
Mr. Graney?
Yeah, I think it's prudent that we do that because we've been sitting on these properties for quite some time now, haven't we?
Okay. John, one last bite at the apple?
Thank you. I think declaring surplus is okay. I think my point was just understanding what the proposal is that has been planned, because there's work on us and there's work on the private people that would be submitting these proposals. I just think over the next month or so, if we could get more insight onto the plans for that property, that would be very useful.
Yeah, I don't think this body has any intention but the best interest of the city, just to get the stuff off our balance sheet and move it forward. We're not looking to undermine any department head at all. So we just want to move the stuff off the balance sheet. That's been my mantra from day one. Okay. I'll take a motion for 9 and 10 to recommend declare surplus.
Motion to declare number 9 and 10 surplus.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Under discussion. Hearing none. On the motion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None. Okay, so 9 and 10 are in the surplus column. Number 15, I'll just take a motion to give it leave to withdraw.
We should take item number 15, give it leave to withdraw.
Motion made and seconded to remove from the table for purpose of giving leave to withdraw. On discussion, hearing none. On the motion, all in favor? Aye. Okay, that's gone. Number 16, and that's, this always happens, always happens. So here's where we are with 16. That is for informational purposes. I just have to call up my calendar, which is, so I did speak with the manager of the G&E, and he is available on the last 2 weeks of July for either the 19th, the 26th, or the 21st or the 28th. I truly don't have a preference for on any of those dates. But he's available, and we've got at least 3, but I think 4 orders in this jacket relative to the G&E with broadband and with natural gas moratorium, and I think there's another 1 or 2 in there as well. So if do any of you have
No preference.
have an issue? Peter?
No problem, any weather.
Could I
Okay.
interject, Mr. Chairman?
No, not yet.
Okay.
Councilor Sullivan? Okay, no problem. Now you may interject.
Thank you. I'm hoping that you will leave a date prior to our August 3rd meeting to be able to do the ARPA proposals that come in. I may have to call a special meeting to get it on the agenda, but as the proposals come in,
Well, that's what we're doing, Terry. So
Okay.
we're looking to get a date in July. So
Okay.
So why don't we, out of an abundance of caution, pick July 26th? So that'll be the last Monday in July, Terry. And our only meeting in the summer, assuming we suspend our rules, would be Tuesday, August 3rd. Okay, so this just for informational purposes, but Jeff, we will schedule a DGR 7:26. Now, I don't care about the time. Pete, do you have a preference?
I think 6:30 is working okay.
6:30 is working good, yeah.
Everybody else?
6:30, Howie, is that working okay? Mike?
Fine.
All right, so 6:30 is working. All right, July 26th at 6:30. Okay, we've come to the end of our agenda. I will take 2 hours on the button. That's pretty good.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Motion made and second to adjourn, non-debatable. On the motion, all in favor? Aye. We are adjourned. Thank you.